Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Gaura Premanandi, Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivacharya Asutara Shri Srimad Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Nitai Gaura Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastha Bhutale Srimadi Tamal Krishna Goswami Namani. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastha Bhutale Srimadi Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namani. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschata Desatarini. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nasta Prashu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistikir. So, Hare Krishna, and once again thank you for coming to this morning's Srimad Bhagavatam class. How long does the class go for? 1 hour. Okay. I thought if we sing longer and cut the time shorter, then you give a short class. So, anyway, nice to see all of you, and thank you for inviting me also. And I see 1 or 2 familiar faces, mostly all new. So since COVID, no? So I haven't been here since then, yeah. Alright, so we're going to do Canto 3, Status Quo, Chapter 28, Kapila's Instructions on Devotional Service, Text 37. Deham cha tam na charamaha stitam utitam va siddhaha vipashyati yataha adyagamad swarupam daivad upetam atha daivavasad apetam vasaha yatha parikritam madira madanda. Deham chatam na charamastitam uttitam va Deham chatam na charamastitam uttitam va Siddho vipashyati yato dyagamat swarupam Siddho vipashyati yato dyagamat swarupam Daivadupetam atadaiva vashatapetam Daivadupetam atadaiva vashat apetam. Vaso yata prakritam madira madandaha. Vaso yata parikritam madira madandaha. Deham jatam na charamasthitam uttitam va. Siddho vipashyati yato dyagamat swarupam. Daivadupetam atadaiva vashat apetam. Vaso yata parikritam madira madandaha. Please chant. Deham chatam na charamasthitam uttitam va. Vaso yata parikritam madira madandaha. Swarupam. Daivadupetam atadaiva vashat apetam. Vaso yata parikritam madira madandaha. Ladies? Yeah, go ahead and chant. Deham jatam na charamasitam uttitam va. Siddho vipashyati yato dyagamat swarupam. Daivadupetam atadaiva vashat apetam. Vaso yata parikritam madira madandaha. Ladies? Deham chatam na charamasthitam uttitam va. Siddho vipashyati yato dyagamat swarupam. Daivadupetam atadaiva vasat apetam. Vaso yata parikritam madira madandaha. Deham, material body. Cha, and tam, that. Na, not. Charamaha, last. Stitam, sitting. Uttitam, rising. Va, or. Siddhaha, the realized soul. Vipasyati, can conceive. Yataha, because Adyagamad, he has achieved Swarupam, his real identity. Daivad, according to destiny. Upetam, arrived. Atha, moreover. Deva Vasad, according to destiny. Apetam, departed. Vasaha, clothing. Yatha, as. Parikritam, put on. Madira Madandaha, one who is blinded by intoxication. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada, the key translation. Because he has achieved his real identity, the perfectly realized soul has no conception of how the material body is moving or acting, just as an intoxicated person cannot understand whether or not he has clothing on his body. Please repeat. Because he has achieved his real identity, the perfectly realized soul has no conception of how the material body is moving or acting, just as an intoxicated person cannot understand whether or not he has clothing on his body. Purport, it's a very long one. This stage of life is explained by Rupa Goswami in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. A person whose mind is completely dovetailed with the desire of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and who engages 100% in the service of the Lord, forgets his material bodily demands. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jananjana Salakaya Chaksusenmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Mukham Garuti Vachalam Bangum Langete Girim Yatkripatamam Vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Suhodito Gododiyo Pushpavanto Chitra Sando Tamo Nudo Deham chatam na charamasitam uttitam va siddho vipashyati yato dyagamat swarupam daiva rupetam atadaiva vasadapetam vaso yata parikritam madira madanda. Because he has achieved his real identity, the perfectly realized soul has no conception of how the material body is moving or acting, just as an intoxicated person cannot understand whether or not he has clothing on his body. So in this chapter, Kapila Muni is actually talking to his mother about the what process. I'm going to be more interactive. I'm not going to be speaking mostly. So what process is he teaching? Yeah, Sankhya Yoga. So in Sankhya Yoga, how many? It is Sankhya Yoga, but particularly here, what yoga is he teaching? it's there. You're right, but he's actually teaching Astanga Yoga system. Yeah, he's talking about the yogi, right? Right? Yeah. If you've been following, you'll know this is the Astanga Yoga process. He's talking about the yoga process. Now, the yoga process, it is authorized in the scriptures. It's authorized. And therefore, one should carefully follow the yoga process. It doesn't matter which stage is it or what type of yoga, but if it's authorized, one should follow properly. Just like you get manuals for operating some new gadget or whatever, if you follow it properly, you know how to use it properly. If you don't follow it, then you don't know how to use it. Very simple things like that. You can't take a vacuum cleaner and use it as a fan during summertime, right? I mean, it's doable, but it's not the best thing to do. Yeah. So similarly, yoga process, you have to see whether the process is authorized or not. But why I say this is because in so many groups you will see around the world, all kinds of yoga they come up with, many years ago, maybe 10 years or more, in US they were having this hot yoga. So what they do is they heat up the whole room to almost 37 degrees, 38 degrees, and then everyone does yoga and sweat profusely. And then they come out, and of course, when you're in a room for an hour like that, you come out, you feel good, And so it was a craze for a while, but I think they all caught up later on that it wasn't the best way to do yoga. Now, we have to understand what is the desired result of yoga, right? What is the desired result of yoga? Establish a connection with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But why do we need to establish a relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Because it is our constitutional position to serve the Lord. So the a statement in the scriptures, Jivera Swarup Hoi Krishnera Nitya Das, that means his sole purpose, his existence is just to serve. And if he doesn't know that, then he is running around doing many crazy things, hoping to be happy, But then oftentimes he sees that he cannot or he will not be happy. But then he is always in denial. Yeah. He's in denial as long as he doesn't understand his constitutional position. And that's where the saintly people come in. And that's where you and I come in. We go around talking to people, trying to connect them, right? That's what we do. Basically, that's all we are doing. We're trying to connect people with what they are missing and what is truth, right? Our whole philosophy, everything is to help people come to understand their position and know that they can actually have a better existence than what they are going through. So that's the result of the yoga practice. What is the yoga practice should not be used for? What is it not meant for? Material gains. What else? Fame and gain. What? Siddhis. Yoga siddhis. Yeah. So generally, you find mostly, these all these personalities who teach yoga. They are actually wanting to get all these siddhi powers, and then with the powers comes fame, and then material gains also. Yeah, so that's what they want to do. They want to do that and achieve that. So therefore, you find rather than they aiming for the progressive advancement in their consciousness, they get trapped in the allurement of the mystic siddhis. We are talking about yogis, so they want all this power craze, right? We think only the politicians are power crazy. The yogis are also, competing with one another, seeing who can float higher than the other guy. Yeah. So yeah, it's very important. The whole idea in yoga is progressively, as they practice the Astanga yoga. So it begins with Yama and niyama. So we also do, right? Yama and niyama. The do's and do nots, right? We have regulated principles and so on. So similarly, the yogis also do that. Very much so. It's the same thing actually. And then yama niyama asanas. So what is the purpose of asana? Huh? Steady the mind. What else? Control the body so that you have good posture, good health, good breathing. Everything is correct, then the mind is focused, balanced, and then boom, you can focus nicely. Yeah. And how do we balance in our case? Chant Hare Krishna. If you chant properly, the breathing is proper also. So if you find you are gasping for air, then I would say please breathe. Yeah, right? So you have to learn the proper techniques and then don't become just doing it mechanically. First, learn how to chant. When we are chanting for whose pleasure? Yeah, Krishna's pleasure. Yeah. That desire should be there, the willingness to connect should be there, and then you can chant like that. If you don't start off thinking I want to connect with God, then your premise would be I am simply counting the numbers. Yeah. And then you find your mind is not control. All of a sudden you say I'm done. I'm finished with the rounds. Right? It's a great realization that you're finished. Then we want to do something else. So the yogi, we the other type of, we are the bhakti yogis, and we are also having problems just like the yogi who sits in the Himalayan mountains. Yeah. You know, this is cold for me, but I sometimes wonder how the yogis in the Himalayan mountains do it. You know. Yeah. Right, so yeah, so we know that. So after asanas, what do? Pranayama. So breathing, control the breathing. It's very important. If you breathe properly, the mind doesn't disturb also. So okay, after pranayama, pratyahara. Okay, so you reduce and control your intakes, ahara. And after that, dharana or dhyana? Dhyan? No. Dharana first. Remember, the Y comes after the R, so you'll never go wrong. Right? Dharana, dhyana. So dharana is to focus. Then dhyana is to concentrate it. And then after that, samadhi is complete immersion. Okay? So, you know, if you can focus your mind in like 22 seconds, right, that's very close to actually getting your mind under control. Most people can't do that. Because just as you start, only the mind starts to tell you, no, stop it. What are you doing? You know, we've been together for so long. So many lives we have been through, and now you are rebelling against your best friend. Yeah. So what does Krishna say about the mind? He is the best friend and worst enemy. Yeah. Yeah. So you have to understand your mind, you have to understand yourself, and then you'll find that you can actually practice this process easily. The process is not hard. We make it difficult. We put all the barriers, and sometimes we look forward for the barriers, right? Because the mind is saying, you know, so difficult, and then we are looking forward to some excuse not to do the process properly. Yeah. So if you do it properly, then what do you achieve? You achieve focus, meditation on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? So what does Krishna say at the end of the 6th chapter? Yoginam api sarvesum madgataranta atmanam shradhavan vajite yoma same tatama. Yeah. So he says one will abide by my instructions, one will worship me, right? He makes it very clear, which means that's what our purpose is in practicing yoga. Ultimately coming to the point of just simply doing what the Lord wants. And that's what basically what today's verse is all about. When you come to that stage, nothing else is important anymore. It's only for the Lord's pleasure. Your focus is primarily to see how you can please them. So Srila Prabhupada mentions in one class, Shri Vigrahara Dana Nityanana Shingara Tan Mandira Majanado. What does that mean? It means Ooh, you guys are singing and you don't know? Huh? Yes, the spiritual master is doing the worship of the deities, and he then engages his disciples in. So the practice. So Prabhupada says in the beginning, when the spiritual master initiates and engages them, the disciple is doing it, but he really doesn't understand properly why he's doing it. He's at the what platform? Kanistha platform. And then he gets excited. He's thinking, I've made it. I've made it. I'm now Brahmin. I've made it. I'm inside the altar. Yeah, but that's not all, because he's thinking, oh, I've done, that's it, my guru, myself, and the deities, and you can't see any other devotees or living entities. He cannot see that. But the Madhyamadhikari, he sees the devotees and others, and therefore he feels compassion. Yeah. So what's the difference? He feels compassion, so he is impelled due to his compassion to preach or to help others what? Connect with Krishna. Yeah. Right? Because I've achieved something and I'm feeling happy, I'm feeling joyful. This process is making me extremely happy. Susukam kartum avyayam. Right? I'm feeling so happy because that's what it is. He's understanding this is what it is, and this is what I'm meant to be doing. And then he looks around, he sees others are not doing it. He feels great compassion. The practice should bring you to that point actually. If it doesn't, then you have to figure out what part of your practice is not allowing you to feel the compassion or becoming serious with the process. Right? Actually, if you have a journal and then put down what you do daily, you'll see where your problems are very clearly. And it's up to you whether you want to fix it or not. Right? It's a free country, free world. You have free will. Yeah. Right? We make that choices. Yeah. And then we can make the proper adjustments. Now, once you can recognize that, then you are already in a good place. That's what the whole practice of sadhana bhakti is. To awaken, we say self-realized. That means what is that? What does that mean, self-realized? Knowing thyself. What else? Understanding that we are servants. What else? I'm not this body, but can you know that you're not this body? Huh? How many of you have already know you're not the body? Yeah, see, this is tricky, How do you do it then? How do you know you're not the body? You know you're not the body because you know you're the servant. That's when you have realized that you're not the body. Because then your desire is to always serve the Supreme Lord, serve His devotees, serve the living entities, right? Showing compassion, being grateful for what you have. Yeah. So then as such a person, yeah, comes to understand his constitutional position very nicely. Yeah. So Srila Prabhupada mentions here also, he says, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So, Yarasya Hare Dasya Karmana Manasagira Nikilaswapi Avastasu Jivan Mukta Sa Uchyate. Yeah. That means the living entity is liberated. When? How? When his work, when he speaks, whatever he does, he is only thinking for the pleasure of the Lord. Such a person is considered liberated, Jivan Mukta, completely liberated. It's not affecting him at all, because he's not worried about his bodily needs anymore. Yeah, I was in Brisbane, and there was a devotee who was doing a lot of service. He preaches and so on, and he was saying that he has his own deities. Due to some circumstances, the deities came back to him. So the deities have a standard, almost like a temple installed deities. So he spends 7 hours a day dressing them, offering, praying, and so on. Yeah, and he's alone, but he does that daily. And then he goes out and does his preaching and so on. He reads and so on. Yeah. So when you are doing for 7 hours, he was saying, I got nothing else to do and I'm happy, he said. Yeah. So that means he's coming to the point of understanding that he is not the body, but he is the servant of the Lord. He's practically liberated. Yeah. Now each of us also will experience that liberation when you are absorbed in the service. Like, okay, so give me some examples. Do we have another mic so we can all share? No? Okay. But anyway, you can still share, and others in this temple room can hear. So let's start with you. Have you done something that you were so absorbed you forgot your bodily needs? Okay, so give us an example. What happened? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. What were your needs that you forgo? Lunch prasadam. I mean, most devotees don't give up prasadam. They'll give up everything, but not prasadam. Right? So you gave that up. Yeah. You weren't thinking about having lunch. Yeah. Yeah. That's nice. Anyone else? Does that mean nobody is experiencing bliss? Okay. Mm. Yeah. That's true, right? If you're having a good time, time flies fast, right? So the same way in Krishna consciousness, if you're really enjoying your service and so on, it just goes quickly, yeah? Right? Yeah. What about you, Mother? In deity worship? Yeah. Right. Nothing. The pain. Yeah. I had a similar experience also, that I dress. I as long as I'm able, I will continue doing deity worship also, because it's very helpful to focus your mind. So one time I got very ill, so then I had to call for someone to do the service. So I called around. Nobody would say yes. Yeah, and then I was thinking, no, someone has to do it. So I decided to go. I just went, and when I was in the altar dressing Sri Sri Gaur Nitai, my fever, everything just disappeared. Yeah. And then I wasn't even thinking of my fever, actually. I was just absorbed in dressing. After that, I came out, and then a few hours later, I'm thinking, I'm not sick anymore. Yeah. So the Lord allows us to experience this wonderful exchange with Him, and we shouldn't take it for granted. The way He reciprocates with us. Yeah. So we should contemplate on it after the event, and then think, wow, isn't Krishna amazing? Yeah, isn't it? Then we can, just like the cowherd man and the cowherd, all those people, they were talking about Krishna, wonderful Krishna, right? He did this, he did that. So similarly, we should also reflect on it. And it's very healthy for practicing devotees to reflect like that. Like you said, you went on books, and then it's so amazing you didn't even think about lunch, and then when you come back, you should thank them. When you come in front and profess your thank and so on, then that is a relationship. That's where you're building a connection with them. That's real, right? Because you feel, or you felt it. Yeah. So we need to practice. That's why we are all still sadhakas. Yeah. But if you can do it to the point where this verse is saying, then you don't even worry about your body. Right? You don't care. So the daily worship, you can be dressing sometimes some pujaris are dressing morning till evening, and they're not even eating, whole day. And then you ask them, you say, yeah, but then I have to do some offering, and then they're still smiling, And then they're like, hey, you have to go. So it's like that, yeah. So what else? Anyone else that you forgot yourself while doing service, apart from book distribution? Any other? Yes, Prabhu. Yeah. Right, that's true. Yeah. Day after Janmashtami, you're wrecked, but then you get up early, do more, service, and then it continues on, and then all of a sudden it's already 3 in the afternoon. And then you think, oh man, and then you realize you are tired. Right? Yeah. And then you take some prasadam, and then you feel so tired you can't sleep, you feel so tired you can't do anything, but then you can only do remembrances. Yeah. So you should reflect on Prabhupada, on the deity side. Yeah, that's a very nice example. Thank you. Yeah. Yes, Prabhu. Right. Yeah. So you absorbed in chanting with that person. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Backward, yeah. Yeah, so that means you were absorbed in that. You were focusing on that chanting. Yeah. It's nice. Anyone else? Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Exactly, right? In Kirtan, you are jumping, you're dancing, and then you forget yourself. Which is why Prabhupada wanted everyone to dance in Kirtan. And then he said, if you put up your hand, you'll dance even without thinking of the body. If you hold your hand, you're thinking, I am the body. So if you open up, then I'm not the body. Yeah. Yes. Anyone else? Yeah, but you're all not sharing though. misers, kripanas. See, when you share, then you actually help the other person evoke their own desire to experience that. And that's also helping others grow in their Krishna consciousness. Yeah. Yes.
Organizing events.
Mm.
There's so many aspects to it. Make sure people attend other logistics. It builds up for a week or so, or however long leading up to the event, and then it's so absorbent. Finally, when the event is done, you're like, oh, it was stressful, but it actually made the event more.
Mm.
So that aspect of it,
Very stressful.
challenging.
Challenging. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Thank you. Now, at this stage is Jivan Mukta stage, right? So the living that perfectly realized soul, actually, he does not experience two things. He does not experience happiness and distress, actually. What is he experiencing? Transcendental bliss, actually. Yeah, it's different, right? Yeah, because he has attained what? His original constitutional position. Yeah, his swarup. He has attained that. Adhyagamat swarupena. Yeah, so he's attained that form, actually. Yeah, yeah. Unless at that stage, the three modes cannot affect that person. Mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance doesn't affect them. Yeah. In the material world, the topmost position in terms of spiritual understanding and all is the position of mode of goodness, and the persons who are in the mode of goodness are the brahmanas, right? They are the highest. Yeah. But the brahmanas is not the highest position, yeah, because they are only in the mode of goodness. Yeah. What position are we trying to aim? Suddha sattva. They are just in sattva. Yeah. So in this Jivan Mukta stage, one is actually at a transcendental level, right? It is transcendental. It is not material modes anymore. Yeah. So therefore, the practice you are doing is actually placing you in the transcendental stage. What Srila Prabhupada has given us, the practice, the sadhana bhakti, all, is actually forcing us, elevating us to which rasa? What is the rasa he's trying to put us in? No. In terms of rasa, yeah? No. You are first elevated to dasya, yeah. Dasa. That's why you have your name Dasa and Dasi at the end. Servant. So, if you practice it properly, you should and you will come to that recognition, I am the servant. That's very important, huh? All these are important criteria. It may seem simple, but it's in this simplicity that we build the foundation. It's not like, oh, I need to know the gopis and this. Don't worry about it, you know. You're not going to know them until you do it properly. Yeah. Honestly, you're not going to know. You can read about that, you won't even know what it means, you know. Because you're still affected by the three modes, and if you read the pastimes of Krishna, you are only going to see things in the material way. It's not possible to see it spiritually. So therefore we shouldn't kid ourselves, you know. Yeah. Yeah. Better to hear an advanced devotee giving a summary or a a realized understanding of the pastimes of Krishna, and then you can then transcend yourself in your own pace. Yeah, right. It's not like a competition, but the competition is with yourself, because in due course of time you're going to die. So that's your final goal. So you have to prepare to face death. So how ready are you? How ready are all of us? Yeah. So it's very important to again consider all these things. Again, these points may seem simple, not so complicated, but then the question is, you can hear all kinds of amazing, right, revelations and classes and so on, but then how is that helping you make the advancement, right? Usually when the spiritual master comes, the whole temple room is all filled up, everyone's like, all ears and all eyes, like that. But then the very next day the spiritual master goes, everyone goes back and goes, collapses. right, yeah. Oh, that was a tough week, right? That means when the spiritual master comes, the devotion goes so high, they find it so tough that they have to land, yeah. They could not sustain it, So again, it's a good time to ask ourselves, why is it I'm not able to sustain this? What am I lacking? So it's important to talk to one another and with like-minded devotees who are interested in pursuing a higher consciousness, and then you ask, what should I do? How should I go about improving myself? So similarly, you look at the Goswamis, they could sustain that. That's why they could live in the forest. Daily they would go under one tree and say, today this is my bed, like that. Why? Because they are not thinking of their body anymore. Bodily needs become very minimized, very minimal. Raghunath Das Goswami wasn't eating anything. All he was taking was a couple of drops of Charnamrita at first. Then he said, oh, this is too luxurious. So he ended up picking all the bad rice that has been washed, and then even then Mahaprabhu said, oh, you are having a feast. So it's amazing, because when you are at that stage, even the Lord personally comes and say, I want to share in your devotion. Yeah, that's what devotion does. It captures the heart of Lord. And so very rarely he's going to give you pure devotion. That's why one of the characteristics of pure devotion service is, it is rarely achieved or obtained here. So we all can't think, oh, I'm done. I've done it. My life's, yeah, in a sense you have done it when you come to Krishna consciousness, but it's the beginning. That's why when you get initiated, it means you're initiating your devotional path. Yeah. But it's not going to end, because the happiness that you will get in the service and so on is ever increasing. Anandam buddhi vardhanam. Yeah, ever increasing. And you'll always be joyful. It's a guarantee. Hear the siren, somebody is not happy. It is, and you feel sorry for them, Yeah. All right, we have maybe 7 minutes or something like that. I will stop here, and take some questions, corrections, realizations, reflections. Yeah? Yes, Prabhu. Yes. It comes naturally, but But that itself is correct, because the Acharya is telling you focus on the hearing and chanting. And because you are following him, you are getting the blessings, and therefore you will remember. Yeah, you will remember the Lord. Then you remember, I need to become serious. I need to have this relationship. Yeah. It is it's innate by nature. The instruction, it's within that instruction, it's there that you're supposed to build a relationship. Right? For example, you can say, I'm chanting, but then our mind wanders, and then we do so many other things. It's just like you invite your friend to your home, and then you say, please sit here, and then you go and do your own thing. Your friend is like, what's happening? Hello? So when we chant, unless we are saying, Lord, or you can start prior to chanting, you can say, look, Lord, I know my mind is going to run all over the universe, but I just want to tell you, I want to make this connection with you, and then you start. Yeah, but that should be sincere. Yeah, it's not just saying it. No, it should be a sincere effort. I want to make the connection. Yeah, and then you're following Prabhupada's instructions, coming in Guru Parampara. So therefore, the mercy is already there. It's whether you're willing to accept the mercy. And the other way you're focused on Krishna and you're making connection is out there in the book distribution. When you are in difficulty, who do you turn to? Who are you thinking at that time? Right? Are you thinking of a number of books? Are you thinking, oh Krishna, I'm in a fix, or my Guru Maharaj, please help, So if that's your consciousness, then you're connecting with Krishna. Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe. Yuktam Vairagyam Uchyate. So therefore, when we do all this, we are actually taking the role of Vairagya. That means I'm not dependent on the material energy or material things anymore. I'm only dependent on these personalities, Supreme Lord. Yeah. So, yeah? Okay. Yeah. Yes. Okay, the statement Jivan Mukta means he's liberated from the three modes affecting him. That's one thing. And then he's at the point where he's no more experiencing material inebriation anymore, but he is actually doing service, and this is where pure devotional service starts. This is the beginning of pure devotional service, and then later on you will understand where your eternal liberation will be. Yeah, one of the four forms. Yeah, and or Krishna devotee. So that's how it is. Yeah. Yes, bro. Go to that. Yeah.
How do we actually maintain our enthusiasm as well? That this is what I am, and then but also that feeling of like I'm not like other people here, not advanced.
Okay, that's a nice question. First of all, if you are not enthusiastic about anything, then look for someone who's always enthusiastic. I mean, the person could be crazy, but that's not what we are talking about. Devotee who's enthusiastic about the service, right? So look for a devotee who's enthusiastic about their service, and then you serve them. Okay, when you serve the enthusiastic devotees, out of their compassion and mercy, they will bless you. Or they should bless you. Because by nature, Vaishnava is compassionate. That is proper. And so if someone serves you, then you should pray for them and say, please, Krishna, give them advancement or help them make more advancement. That's proper. So similarly, even though we may not be so advanced, someone comes and serves us, we pray for them also. We should pray. And that builds gratitude also. That develops those. Sometimes we think we are devotees and we can't do all this. No, you need to do many things. Moral, values, ethical, all those things must be there. Sometimes we think those values are not important, but they are actually important. Because an ordinary person can only relate at certain vibration at a certain level. So you have to show that you have that also. That's compassion. So similarly, you feel, I don't have this enthusiasm, but when you serve them, you find you're able to attain the enthusiasm like them. Alright, so you don't like to go out on books, but maybe someone loves going out on books, but you can carry their books and go out with them. And then after some time, you feel like you also want to give the books. That's how enthusiasm comes, because you're serving someone. No problem, bro, I'll drop you the books and so on. It's all connected. You are connecting yourself to Krishna as far as possible in the situation you are in, and Krishna is very happy with that. Remember the incident of the spider or the squirrel in building the bridge that Ram wanted, and Hanuman was laughing at them? And then the Lord said, no, what that little guy is doing, I'm happy also. Yeah. So it's not in terms of quantity or anything like that, it's the effort that you put in. The effort signifies surrender. Yeah. The effort signifies the willingness to serve also. If you don't do it on your own volition, then there's a problem. Yeah, that means you're not practicing properly, or you are associating too much with the material energy. And most of the problem is devotees associate too much with the material energy, and therefore they acquire materialistic qualities, and they become envious, and they become offensive because of that. Otherwise, it's not. The problem is not there. This process it's supposed to take you back to Godhead in this lifetime. It's so powerful. So who's the problem? Right? We ourselves. Yeah, I, me, mine. Like that. Yeah. Thank you for that question. Yeah. Yes, Prabhu. Mostly in our, there's 5 ways of developing higher consciousness in pure devotional service, right? What are the 5? 5 items of pure devotion. Chanting, Srimad Bhagavatam, hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam, associating with devotees, living in the Dham, and deity worship, right? So these 5 things. So you can ask yourself how much of those things I'm doing properly, right? If I'm doing something neglectfully, then you're not going to get what those gratitude feelings also. You can't. It's not possible, right? If you ignore Krishna, Krishna is going to ignore you. Krishna will ignore you, but the Paramatma will continue his neutral stance. Yeah. Right? If you read the Bhagavad Gita, he says, I'm not going to get involved, but Upadrasta Mantascha Bharta Bhakta Maheshwara. So I'm watching everything, and I'm only giving you according to what you deserve, according to your karma. Yeah. So you are feeling, I don't have gratitude. The fact that you're thinking like that means you are starting to understand what the problem is, right? So then seek those associates or association who will pull you out of this quagmire of difficult situations. Yeah. You have to approach, which means what Krishna is saying is you need to surrender. Yeah. Mostly we don't want to surrender because of our ego. Yeah. Ahankara vivatmatma kartam iti manyate. I'm doing it. Oh Lord, it's so hard to be humble. When you're perfect in everything. So that's how it is. Yeah. Yes. Drained. Okay. Okay, if the vibration is negative, it is draining. If the vibration is positive, it's uplifting. So then you associate with those who uplift you, right? That means there's two things though. What you're saying is, if you hear someone, you get disturbed. I mean, first of all, it means you have difficulty in discriminating properly, and you are sorry to say that maybe you are not practicing properly or reading Prabhupada's books properly. Because if you know the philosophy, and if someone is messing around with the philosophy, immediately you'll click and say, this guy is talking nonsense. And it shouldn't disturb you. Rather, you should feel sorry for that person, and then you should think, why is this person even giving that talk? Yeah, it shouldn't be like that. But you have to see the intent of that devotee also. Having said that, you have to see their life. If they are still a good devotee, then that means the problem is still with you. For example, some devotees may not want to do certain service and so on, and then the temple president will sit in the class and say, this is no good and that, and they'll feel hurt, right? And they'll feel, oh, he's not uplifting me and so on. But then he's speaking the truth, which means your false ego is hurt. That's all, yeah. So, recognize where you are at, and then seek the association that will enhance your Krishna consciousness. So for beginning devotees who are prakrita bhaktas, they are easily swayed left or right, so then they should be actually protected by the senior devotees, right? For example, like bhakta programs and so on. So the devotees in the ashrams are protecting them, teaching them and so on. So then they can develop a certain type of consciousness and protect themselves. If you are a devotee, you will not make mistakes, because Krishna personally says in the Bhagavad Gita, he will protect you, right? Konteya pratijanahi name bhakta pranas. He will not perish. Yeah. He may have difficulty, but he will not perish. Okay? It's 8 past. Last question. Ian. No, that's the nature of the spirit soul. Every living entity wants to be happy. Yeah. So it is very natural. So why inhibit that natural feeling? But you have to find out how I can enhance that happiness. In which form or fashion that when I take that up, my happiness is real. At the moment, my happiness is temporary. Okay, so that's what you need to figure out. Yeah. But it's a natural thing. Anandam Vyasat, Anandam Buddhi Vyasat. That's he's seeking happiness all the time. Okay? No more questions, because we are past 9:05. You can talk to me later. Yeah. All right. Thank you very much. Gantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaura Premanandi. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Just a quick announcement. Thank you again, Prabhu, for giving such a wonderful morning Bhagavatam class. This evening, Prabhu will be speaking at Vaman Kshetra at the Rath Yatra, and tomorrow morning he'll be speaking at the Bhakti Center in Bella Vista. Tomorrow morning's Bhagavatam class. So please do join, and for any questions, please come to me. Thank you. Hare Krishna.